Welcome back to Hannity. So one of the more heated moments from last night's GOP debate came after a question about the Patriot Act. Here's Governor Chris Christie and Senator Rand Paul going at each other over this issue. Watch this.
I want to collect more records from terrorists, but less records from other people. How are you supposed to know, Megan?
Use the Fourth Amendment.
How are you supposed
Use
to?
The Fourth
no, I'll
Amendment.
tell you how you
get a warrant.
Listen, Senator, you know, when you're sitting in a subcommittee just blowing hot air about this, you can say things like that. When you're responsible for protecting the lives of the American people, then what you need to do is to make sure that you use the system the way it's supposed to work.
Here's the problem, Governor. You fundamentally misunderstand the Bill of Rights. Every time you did a case, you got a warrant from a judge. I'm talking about searches without warrants, indiscriminately of all Americans' records, and that's what I fought to end. I don't trust President Obama with our records. I know you gave him a big hug, and if you want to give him a big hug again, go right ahead.
All right, here with reaction from the National Review, Jonah Goldberg from the Washington Times, Charles Hurt, Fox News contributor Doug Schoen is with us. Jonah, I love that part of the debate because it's an important debate. We have data mining, collection, people's texts, cell phone calls, computer records, emails, etc. I read the Patriot Act, talked to Jim Sensenbrenner. He said we were never supposed to do that. What did you think of that exchange?
I agree. I thought it was a fantastic. Exchange, in large part because it's basically just a fundamental principle disagreement by two people, and they start from different premises, and so they draw different conclusions. I think that Rand Paul, for the people who are big fans of Rand Paul, he helped himself. For the people who are big fans of Chris Christie, he helped himself. I'm not sure either of them persuaded anybody on the fence to join one side or the other side, but I'd like to see this kind of argument a lot more in the GOP field. Everyone talks about how the Republicans are closed-minded and don't have debates and disagreement. We have fantastic disagreements. Well,
I think there's actually a battle for the heart and soul of the future of the Republican Party ongoing right now. Doug Schoen, what do you think of that exchange?
Oh, I think Jonah is exactly right. I think those kind of debates and exchanges are extremely good and important. I'm obviously with Chris Christie, and I am deeply concerned about terror, but I think for those who are concerned about privacy, so much the better that Rand Paul was there. But I'd say that the big surprise to me was how well Chris Christie acquitted himself on that question and others as well.
By the way, when's your friend Hillary going to start answering tough questions? Are we ever going to see that moment arise?
She's got to do it, Sean. You can't go through what she's gone through and just hope that it'll all go away. It's not. You're right.
Charles, you've been one of the more staunch supporters of Mr. Trump. How did you feel it went last night for him?
I thought that last night was, he remained himself, which was very important. I think he got nicked up a little bit, particularly in the exchange with Megyn Kelly about talking about the women that he has made disparaging remarks about in the past. I do think that is something that could become a liability in a general election, and it's something that he's going to have to deal with. But his, the argument that he made that, look, I'm not here to be PC. Obviously, that's what so many people love about Donald Trump. And is there a price you pay to be that person? Yes, there is. That's why most politicians aren't politically incorrect. And it's why we have such the problem that we do have, but it opens up a pretty wide alley for a guy like Donald Trump to walk up into and do just tremendously well in the polls like none of us could have predicted.
Joan, I know you've been a fairly harsh critic against Mr. Trump, but
I have.
Would we have had 26 million or 24 million people watching last night if he wasn't on that debate stage? In other words, has he added a certain level of intensity and energy to the debate that overall could help Republicans? And is there not something to learn from the Donald Trump model for everybody, which is speak your mind, don't be so politically correct, don't be so guarded, and don't be so coached?
Yeah, no, I agree with all of that. I think, look, he provides an entertaining factor. I agree with Charlie entirely that the I'm not politically correct line plays very well, and it should play very well because political correctness is wildly out of hand. At the same time, I'm not sure that anyone from NASCAR would defend crashes as being good for NASCAR because people tune in to watch them. I think the thing that really hurt Donald Trump last night was his refusal to say that he wouldn't endorse the nominee if it wasn't him. I mean, his only promise was that if he's the nominee, he won't run as an independent. I think that hurts him a lot. It makes him seem like a real politician. It makes him seem like he's in it for himself. I think the criticism of Fox News for asking that question is outrageous.
It's kind of interesting, Jonah, because I've now talked to him about it, interviewed him a number of times, asked him that question numerous times. My takeaway is, and I think I'm interpreting this right, is that he's saying to the Republican Party, I want to be treated fairly, and I'm holding this as leverage, and that's sort of like his business instinct. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's entirely accurate. I think that's entirely his strategy. That in no way means that the question is illegitimate. You were right to ask the question. Bret Baier was absolutely right to ask the question. Yeah. And yet now we're hearing that somehow this is an unfair question to ask. He answered it. He answered it honestly. He says, I'm blackmailing the Republican Party to be nice to me, or I'm going to take my marbles and go home. And I don't think
blackmail and leverage are two very different. If you go by the Frank Luntz focus group, it didn't play very well with those guys. What do you think, Doug?
The other thing that kind of helped,
I have a different take. I think, frankly, there's a better answer Donald Cannon should give, which is if there's a candidate who takes his positions on the Mexican border and immigration, on national security and making America great, I have no doubt that Trump will support him. On the other hand, if Rand Paul is the nominee, I would hope on national security issues, Trump and many others of all types wouldn't support him. So I think there's a better answer that Donald can give. But candidly, I thought that Donald did pretty well. And I think that reports of his demise are grossly exaggerated.
Last word, Charles.
And the scene at the beginning of the debate with Donald Trump, the only man standing there with his hand up in the air saying, yeah, I will not take this pledge. You know, it was another example where it may have sounded rude, it may have been impolite and all of that, but he was standing alone on his own and being what could only be honest, taken as honest. Honesty in that particular setting.
All right, guys, thank you all for being with us. Appreciate it. And more on this busy night on Hannity. Here's what's up next.
I think to be commander-in-chief in the 21st century requires someone who understands how the economy works, someone who understands how the world works and who's in it. I know more world leaders on the stage today than anyone running, with the possible exception of Hillary Clinton.
2016 Republican presidential candidate Carly Fiorina was the buzz on social media after last night's 5 p.m. debate. That's next. And also later tonight.
We need to eliminate the sanctuary cities in this country. It is ridiculous and tragic that people are dying.
The candidates sounded off over immigration during the primetime debate. Donald Trump said no one would even be talking about this topic if it wasn't for him. We'll check in with Ann Coulter and much more straight ahead.
It's a golden opportunity to turn every ride into a thrill ride at the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Lease the 2015 RC350 for $449 a month for 36 months, and we'll make your first month's payment. See your Lexus dealer.
If you're suffering from constipation or irregularity, powders may take days to work. For gentle overnight relief, try Dulcolax laxative tablets. Dulcolax provides gentle overnight relief, unlike Miralax that can take up to 3 days. Dulcolax, designed for dependable relief.
I built my business with passion, but I keep it growing by making every dollar count. That's why I have the Spark Cash Card from Capital One. I earn unlimited 2% cash back on everything I buy for my studio. And that unlimited 2% cash back from Spark means thousands of dollars each year going back into my business.
And that's huge for my bottom line. What's in your wallet?
If you're suffering from joint discomfort, get your life back fast with Arthro 7 from U.S. Doctors Clinical. Formulated by our team of doctors for people who want a more natural, clinically proven solution to their joint discomfort in as little as 2 weeks. Call now or find Arthro 7 at these fine stores.
Bass Pro Shops is more than a store.
It's great brands from Coleman and North Face to Redhead and Ascend.
Bass Pro Shops is the place for huge savings during our end-of-season clearance.
There's never been a better time to come to Bass Pro Shops than right now.
Get a good look at the redesigned Nissan Maxima and the redesigned Murano.
Plus, get great offers on our most exciting lineup ever during Nissan's Bottom Line Model Year-End event. For a limited time on select models, get up to $1,000 bonus cash on top of existing offers.
Bonus cash ends soon.
Shop your local Nissan store and choose Nissan.com. Nissan, innovation that excites.
Welcome back to Hannity. So after yesterday's 5 p.m. Republican primary debate, the internet, social media were abuzz about one candidate in particular, and that's former Hewlett-Packard CEO Carly Fiorina. Here's why.
I started as a secretary and became ultimately the chief executive of the largest technology company in the world, almost $90 billion in over 150 countries. I think to be commander-in-chief in the 21st century requires someone who understands how the economy works. The potential of this nation and too many Americans is being crushed by the weight, the power, the cost, the complexity, the ineptitude, the corruption of the federal government. Hillary Clinton lies about Benghazi. She lies about emails. She is still defending Planned Parenthood, and she is still her party's front runner. We need a nominee who is going to throw every punch, not pull punches. I am not a member of the political class. I am a conservative. I can win this job. I can do this job. I need your help. I need your support. I will, with your help and support, lead the resurgence of this great nation.
Here with reaction, Fox News contributors Katie Pavlich and Tammy Bruce. The 5 p.m. debate was really good. And I thought she did well. I thought Rick Perry did well. I thought Rick Santorum. I thought it was a pretty powerful debate. She did stand out, and there was a lot of buzz about her. Why?
Well, look, everybody there needed to not just hold their own. They needed to really eclipse everyone. They needed to make news on their own without it being bad news. And she did it. It was actually the best case scenario. I wanted her. I like her very much. I wanted her in that main debate. But in fact, now, this was maybe even better in that she's made news because of the nature of what she was able to accomplish there, was not distracted by Trump. She was able now to watch that second debate, to get a sense of her new competition, and I think that it was just fabulous. Clearly, the people, making the biggest Google searches, sure, right? That she did everything right. I think people now understand why she's very good. As a feminist, I like her. As a conservative, I like her. I think she hit a home run.
Katie, you know what I like? I like that she actually used the word lie, because I do believe Hillary lied to us about Benghazi. I believe she lied about the emails. She's still supporting Planned Parenthood. She seems to have no fear, especially when it comes to taking on Hillary.
Well, absolutely, and that's been Carly Fiorina's attitude since the beginning of announcing her presidential campaign. She has been fearless in going after Hillary Clinton, and not only just going after her with the facts and saying that she's lied about very specific issues, but also offering alternatives to the status quo. She has an outside of Washington, D.C. attitude. I'm here at the Red State Gathering, as you can see, where there's hundreds of activists here wanting to know more about Carly Fiorina. She spoke earlier today and talked about actually doing things about the VA, dismantling bureaucracy and holding people accountable, and that's something that people are certainly hungry for, and certainly something that they're looking for more of in the future.
Maybe this is not the right question, maybe it is the right question. Does she have more flexibility because she's a woman to hit harder? Is that a fair question?
Well, I think that everybody, because of where they come from and who they are, everybody's got a special style or some kind of perk that they have.
But does that matter, that factor?
I think it does. I think that there are things that women can say about other women that men can't. There are things that we also understand about other women that men don't understand. A woman who's been in business.
You're saying I don't understand? Well, come on, Tam.
No, I think that in general, with life experience, we know what women go through, and we know what sisters are doing. And I think that that's what, when it comes to politics, what has been missing a little bit. And I think that what Hillary does not want is for a woman to be her opposition. But separate from what Hillary wants or not, someone like Carly Fiorina is actually the best candidate regardless of gender, and she needs to prove that, and I think she's doing so.
If you watch Katie, I find at best Hillary Clinton is a mediocre politician. If you watch her, she's old and tired, and her ideas are old and tired and boring and stale. And if there was a comparing and contrasting moment with Carly and Hillary, I think it would be dramatic. It would not be nuanced. It would be very obvious to people, the distinction here.
Well, and wouldn't that be a great debate? And that's something that Carly has pointed out. She pointed that out today. She said, look, I know more world leaders in the GOP primary process than any other person here, with maybe the exception of Hillary Clinton. And guess what? I did actual negotiations and meetings with these leaders, not just photo ops as Hillary Clinton has done. She's not afraid to go after her. She's not afraid to, get rid of that woman card that Hillary Clinton is trying to play. We saw earlier this week Hillary Clinton attacking Jeb Bush and Scott Walker for wanting to defund Planned Parenthood and take away women's health. What she didn't mention is that Carly Fiorina also wants to defund Planned Parenthood. So it's obvious that the Clinton campaign doesn't want to mention Fiorina because it's another option that women have when it comes to voting for someone who is a female in this race. And when you look at the polling, Hillary Clinton is not doing well with female voters, and Carly can fill that void.
If I just may add that when you introduce a conservative woman into the argument, it smashes the liberal meme that all women think the same, that there's only one way to approach all the issues. This smashes that. It smashes the conformity that the left wants, and it's invigorating, it's inspiring, not just for conservatives, not just for Republicans, but for Americans in general.
We'll talk of warm women. 56 million American women are out of the labor force.
That's right. That's the war.
That is a war. That is a shame, too. All right. Thank you both. Good to see you. Katie, have fun. My best to the red state folks out there. Coming up next tonight here on Hannity.
If it weren't for me, you wouldn't even be talking about illegal immigration, Chris. You wouldn't even be talking about it.
Immigration, a hot topic at last night's debate. Coming up next, Ann Coulter will weigh in on the candidates' responses to the big issue of border security. Plus,
I think people want someone who listens to them, and I made it clear. Secure the border, enforce the laws, no amnesty, and I'm fairly unique in this regard. I believe we should have a policy about legal immigration that gives priority to American working families and their wages.
Now, I spoke with most of the candidates after last night's big debate. In case you didn't stay up late, we're going to show you some of those interviews straight ahead.